can go and ask.
So I did meet.
Oh, no, there it is. It's in this one, Rob. And it's cousin Rob Weatherston.
I think it is. Well, I presume it's.
I'll just say, hiya. Love is with us. Love unites us. Love steadies us. Love comforts us. Blessed be the one who is the source of love forever. Friends, we gather today to both say goodbye to Jan Weatherston and to honor and give thanks for the life she lived among us. We gather to grieve our loss and to comfort one another in our sorrow, to surround her family and loved ones with our support, strength, and encouragement. Though it is the presence of death that causes us to gather, it is the precious gift of life that we come to celebrate.
Today, we delight in the life that Jan shared with us as wife, mother, sister, aunt, cherished family member, co-worker, and beloved friend. While we are saddened by the loss of the light she brought to our world, we are grateful that Jan was able to live her life to the fullest, not only defying medical odds, but bringing hope and joy to us all. And in every moment, she surrounded us with love beyond measure. We take comfort in knowing that what remains for us all is the gift of memories through which she will be ever present to those who loved her. Jan has left us a tremendous legacy. And through her example of exceptional love, her sense of humor, her ability to be present for others, and her unfailing kindness, she will continue to inspire the people we are becoming. Though in the valley of death's shadow, the memories may bring pain, there will come a time when they will once again be the source of delight and joy.
In the realization that Jan's time on this earth is complete, we contemplate the great mystery of living and of dying. We come to acknowledge that there is something sacred in both our living and our dying. As surely as we are touched by the gift of life when it enters this world in a newborn child, so we are touched by the leaving of that life and the deep sense of absence that is left behind. It is because Jan was deeply loved and respected, because her presence touched so many lives, that we are touched so profoundly by her passing. In grieving the loss of a loved one, we not only face their absence from us, but also our own deep questions about life and death. These emotions are intensified when we witness someone like Jan, who lived with such determination and courage and tenacity. Grieving is a journey of the soul. It is about finding the sources of peace and joy that sustain our living, even as we walk through a time of disorienting darkness.
And so, we come today to travel the road of grieving together. In companionship, the road becomes less daunting, and the encouragement of one another strengthens us when the way is hard and long. In love and support, we reassure each other, and today we reassure Jan's family that none of us grieves alone. We face the loss of those we love, sustained by the compassion of others and by the healing love of God who created us all. In celebrating Jan's life, we also remember that she remains companion to her loved ones who walk on this journey. The love that she shared continues to light your way, and the example of her strength shines as a beacon to uphold you all.
As we travel this journey of the soul, we also come to affirm that love and hope attend us. This is not the end of a life story, but the celebration of one chapter in a story that continues. May the one who comforts the brokenhearted grant us grace to trust in love's presence with us and faith that finds peace in the assurance that life and love are never ended. Let's join our voices in a moment of reflection and remembrance as we hold Jan and one another in love. And as you feel so moved, join together in the prayer of gathering, which is printed in the order of service. Loving God, we gather with tender hearts, feeling the ache of parting and the gift of having shared life with Jan. We trust that she rests now in your everlasting care, even as her love continues to shape our lives. In this moment of remembering, may we find comfort in each other, strength in the love that surrounds us, and hope that her spirit continues to live on in us. Amen. We're grateful to Charlotte for being here. Charlotte was a good friend of Jan's, and she helped us choose some music that we might sing together today. We wanted to choose music that would be meaningful to all of us, but especially to Jan. And one of the hymns that we chose together was All Things Bright and Beautiful. It speaks to the beauty of nature, and we know how important this was to Jan and to her career in Parks Canada. And so we thought that this was probably a really good hymn for us to sing together. And so as you're able, you're invited to stand and sing the words that are printed in the order of service.
Bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, God made their glowing colors, God gave their tiny wings. Wings bright and splendor, the moon was starting calm. The great lakes and the prairies, the forest in the fall. God gave us eyes to see them, and lips that we might tell how great is God our Maker, who has made all things well. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all.
Please be seated. Sharing some words of remembrance this afternoon, we have Jenny, one of Jan's daughters, sharing words, and then two of Jan's dear friends, Kathy Cumming and then Sandy Richardson.
Hello, my name is Jenny, and I'm the youngest of Jan's three daughters. I wanted to start off by thanking everyone for coming today to celebrate my mom's life. It's a shame she can't be here because she would have loved to be surrounded by all of her favorite people. Everyone in this room had their own relationship with her, but I feel luckiest to be able to call her mom. She gave my sisters and I the most magical childhoods. This included over-the-top Christmases, topped off with meticulously wrapped presents, none of which missing ribbon, as well as always a well-set dining table. As her mother told her, if you can't cook, you have to make sure the table looks good, which she took this task very seriously at all of her dinner parties, of which there were many. Our childhood also included annual summer trips to our home away from home in Ocean Park, Maine, which was a tradition passed down from her mom's family. This included getting up at the crack of dawn to secure a good spot on the beach where we'd stay until midday when she'd make us leave for the heat of the day as she passed down her inability to tan to all three of us kids. This midday reprieve from the sun gave my mom the excuse for her favorite pastime and arguably only physical activity, shopping. There was no stopping Mom once she got into a mall, which would end in a cart full of clothes where she would ask us to humor her with a fashion show at the change rooms. Outside of Maine, we would take road trips frequently, often out east, and thanks to her working for Parks Canada, we would always stop along the way so she could take pictures of the official signage, always taking her job seriously, even when on vacation. Anyone who knows my mom, or as we lovingly call her, Project Manager Jan, knows she loves a good house project. Lucky for her, she had my dad to execute all these projects, and between the two of them, they always turned out incredible. Obviously, some bumps along the way, and having to rearrange the furniture 10 times to see, as she was a visual person, had to see which was the best setup before deciding on one. As she got sicker, she never let her health stop her from finding joy in life. We would play board games for hours on end. I've never seen a Ticket to Ride board game more used than her copy. She loved helping out at the church bazaar, where she took this task as seriously as her 9-to-5 job when she was working. I'd also go over frequently, and we would just talk for hours on end. Everything from life, work, politics, and current events. She was the most intelligent person and always had the most interesting insight on all topics. Those chats are what I'm going to miss the most. Although we won't be able to physically create new memories with her, there's pieces of her left everywhere, including half the ornaments on my Christmas tree, which were handmade by her. Some of you may be lucky enough to have some of those as well if you went to the bazaar. I'm so grateful also for all the extra years and memories we were able to make thanks to modern medicine and her strong will and determination. She defied all of doctors' prognoses and statistics right up until the very end. I love you, Mom, and I'm so grateful for every minute we had together. Now you're pain-free and on your next adventure, reunited with your parents and your brother.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kathy, and that was beautiful, Jenny. And I can relate to so much of that over the years. But I want to tell you a little story about when I first met Jan 37 years ago. And I'm sorry, I'll apologize in advance, Laura and my daughter Kaylee. Laura and Kaylee were 3 years old 37 years ago, so do the math. And we decided, Dave and I, my husband, we decided that, all little girls should do ballet. And so we enrolled Kaylee in ballet, and because of my work schedule, my husband was the one who would take her and bring her home. Well, one time I went there to, pick up Kaylee and see my husband, and the other mom sitting down there, because the dance studio was on St. Joseph and it was on the lower level, and there was a restaurant bar at the top level. So I go down there and there's no husband. And so I'm, asking, has anyone seen, Dave? And then one of the moms said, oh, he's gone upstairs to the bar with Jan. And so, turns out, Dave knew Jan a little bit longer than me because apparently there was one mom at that ballet class who talked incessantly, and Jan and Dave, over a little bit of time, I guess, exchanged glances, and through some kind of communication, ended up going upstairs. So I found, the first time I met Jan was, in a bar with my husband, and so I walked in there, and there's this elegant, 6-foot-tall, blonde, beautiful woman sitting and having a coffee. And, the rest is history. So what happened after that was we became amazing friends. And when Jenny, you were talking about Christmases, we have a particular, Jan and Dean and Dave and I, we have a wonderful Christmas tradition that it's going to be pretty tough, and we're going to have to find a way to honor Jan this Christmas for sure. But we would always, for years and years and years, get together in mid-December, and for us, Jan and I would say it was the official start of the Christmas season. We would get together, we would have a lovely meal in her beautiful dining room, and we would watch Elf and Christmas Vacation. And we got so into that one year that we decided that we would all dress as characters from the movie. So I'll never forget, this time the meal was in my dining room, and I'll never forget, it was the middle of a really cold night. Who shows up at my door in a short terry cloth bathrobe with gym shorts on, but Cousin Eddie? Whenever, he was cleaning, well, I won't go into that. But anyway, so we all had our different characters, and Jan had when Chevy Chase is watching the movie, she had the klute hat and the gloves and all of that. So it was just, we have so many of those kinds of memories. And I think one of the things I will always remember so much about Jan is, well, certainly all of the things that were mentioned, her intelligence, her elegance, but it was her laugh. And she had the most engaging, beautiful smile. And so my husband would try very hard to make her laugh. And one time on a camping trip, she laughed so hard she fell off her chair. And he said the next thing he noticed was this hand reaching up to grab his arm because she was on the ground and couldn't get up. She was laughing so hard. So, but in closing, I would like to say one more thing before closing. Our cottage was a place where we truly had some wonderful times together. And again, Dean renovated our entire kitchen according to Jan's design. So I was very grateful for that, because everywhere I look in my cottage, there is some place that Jan has touched. So she will always be with us as we remember the wonderful times that we had there. Now in closing, what I would like to, I was a teacher for 33 years, so, I'll stop soon. But one of the last in-person conversations I had with Jan, she told me that she, when she looks back on her life, she doesn't regret anything. And she said, she married the man that she loved, and she was so proud of her 3 daughters. And she said, and this was well into her illness, and she was having a really hard time trying to walk that day. And she said, no matter what kind of day I'm having, I always try to find something beautiful or something that makes me smile in that day. And the way that I hope to honor Jan's memory is to live the rest of my life with that kind of just wonderful attitude. So thank you, Dean, for allowing me to share just so few of the many memories that I have. But we love her and we will miss her always.
Hi, I'm Sandy, and I'm going to be reading. I am so lucky that I could call Jan my friend for the past 50 years. I have so many special memories of Jan and our time together, and I'd just like to take a minute or two to share just a few of those with you. Jan and I met in 1975 at Carleton University, and so many of my favorite memories from that time are the little things. Dancing in the res hallway to records, yes, records, as we were taking a break from studying. And the time when we made a lemon meringue pie to bring to a party, and the meringue slid off in the taxi on the way there. I have pictures of Jan trying to catch it and put it back on top. And then, of course, in our first apartment when we tried our hand at wallpapering, and that did not go so well. And of course, we always tried to find time most days to watch The Young and the Restless together. Very important in university to do that. And then Jan met Dean, and we both had families, and more memories were made. Jenny talked about Ocean Park, and Ocean Park was a very special place for both of our families to enjoy summer vacations over the years. Icy cold water, walks to the creek to collect sand dollars, eating lobster, Dean going out to get us fresh hot cinnamon buns in the morning, her brother Ken enjoying reading a book on the beach, and Jan and I in those very low beach chairs trying so hard not to get sunburned. And as Jenny said, let's not forget about the shopping. Jan really loved shopping, especially finding some unique things or a great bargain. And I still have one of those great bargains that Jan insisted that I buy. We also have so many wonderful memories of spending afternoons with Jan and Dean, playing games, good food, made by Dean, of course, sharing stories, and lots of laughter. And of course, there had to be political conversations throughout all of those games. My husband and Jan just loved talking politics. Every time John and I will play 5 crowns from now on, we will remember those days. I feel so blessed that Jan was in my life. She was kind. She was the kind of friend who was always there when you needed her. Jan was creative, funny, smart, strong, kind, and devoted to her family. Laura, Aaron, and Jenny, your mom was so proud of you. And she talked about you every time we got together. Dean, you are truly the best husband Jan could ever have wished for. You took such good care of her, not only throughout her illness, but always. The loss of Jan far too early leaves a big hole in all of our hearts. And I hope it brings her comfort to know how very much we all loved her. Jan, I love you, and I will always cherish our friendship.
Thank you all for those memories. And now we have to share a reading with us, Miss Me But Let Me Go, Rob Weatherston, who is a nephew of Jan and Dean's.
Miss me, but let me go. When I come to the end of the road, and the sun has set for me. I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey that we must all take, and each must go alone. It's all a part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick of heart, go to the friends we know, and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go.
Today we also include a reading from the Bible, our sacred scriptures in the Christian faith. This one is familiar to many and often heard at funerals and services of love and remembrance like today. For many of us here, the 23rd Psalm resonates deeply with our souls in some mysterious yet moving way, even though the imagery is not particularly contemporary. Since Jan died when Dean asked me to participate in this service, I've been reflecting on a bit of that holy wisdom in that psalm, with her in my heart. And so, this afternoon, as Molly reads these ancient words for us, I invite you to also hear how I've been hearing these same words in my heart over the past few days. Hearing Psalm 23 for Jan.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
The Creator of all was and is Jan's sustainer in times of abundance and in times of need.
He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters.
Creator, you have graciously given her rest, just as you refreshed her with friendships, calm and clear.
He restores my soul and leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
Your Spirit restored her spirit over and over and over again and guided her in your way of goodness and grace as your sacred legacy to us, her family, and her friends.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
So that even when she faced death, she did so bravely because she felt your presence. Your promise and your faithfulness reassured her.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows.
You prepared Jan's heart deep within to face her illness with courage and clarity. You blessed her and empowered her, which allowed your love to overflow from her life into ours.
Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Certainly, sacred kindness and compassion accompanied her throughout her life on this earth. And because we feel it still, the Spirit invites us to trust anew that Jan lives forever in the Creator's warm embrace. I imagine that this Bible passage has been read and interpreted and sung and prayed and memorized and paraphrased and reflected upon more than any other. And I've often wondered, why this one? Perhaps it has to do with a fundamental quality of human life, an essential characteristic of faith and belief. Perhaps at the heart of this psalm is a sacred invitation to trust. A song that describes how a meaningful life is built on trusting God in every circumstance. When living is filled with goodness, when living is filled with struggle, and when it's filled with both at the same time. Learning to trust God is what life is all about. And I get the feeling that the singer of this psalm is beginning to realize that God trusts her too. It's a love song of faith and trust, and it's deeply spiritual and profoundly meaningful. I'm deeply grateful to a small handful of Jan's confidants, Margaret and Charlotte and Lynn and Pat, for helping me appreciate the subtleties of her remarkable way of creating trusting relationships. But they're not the only ones, of course. Dean and the girls have been the beneficiaries of her love and her encouragement for a lifetime. She trusts you like you trust her. And those who worked alongside of her professionally at Parks Canada and beyond that, and in her volunteer efforts at Orleans United and with the Interchurch Refugee Committee and wherever else you may have worked alongside her, we have all felt the gracious influence of her way of trusting and including others. Like us, every one of us here. And most of us have realized what a kind and encouraging force of God's goodness she was in this world. In her friend Margaret's reflection on Jan's life around Orleans United, She remembered a favorite hymn we often sing there. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side, we draw the circle wide. Margaret lovingly remembered that Jan had the gift of drawing the circle wide. She was the bright nexus of many overlapping spheres of influence. Margaret, I love this phrase. I'm going to say it again for you. She was the bright nexus of many overlapping spheres of influence. Kind of like a quilt, you might say. She was a connector who loved introducing friends from one group to members of another group. If you are a member of Jan's clan, family, or otherwise, I'm told you have likely experienced this. Yes? It explains how you might be a member of Dean's baseball team who found yourself grilling chicken brochettes on a cold February night for an IRG dinner. Or the local plumber who answered a plea for help for a new refugee family. Perhaps you are a spouse of a teammate who volunteered to prepare salad for 100. Or you might be a longtime friend of Jan's who wired dozens of Christmas balls to wreath frames for a church bazaar. Or who sat in their beautiful backyard garden, needle felting, whatever that is, needle felting dryer balls for the same cause. You might be a member of the extended family who took on sewing projects for the bazaar and made table runners to enhance IRG dinners. Or, I might add, a minister of the church who finds himself in charge of hanging bazaar table banners around the hall on the night before the event. The examples go on and on and on. You likely have yours too. But you get the idea. Jan was beloved and her friends loyal. We were always ready to have fun helping Jan in her service to others. And she delighted in receiving our assistance. She believed in us and trusted us all to do what we could, because I believe Jan trusted God and trusted that God trusted her. And even as her body was wearing out after years of living with a debilitating disease, she never stopped trusting. In her final days, she phoned a friend and confided in her that on her way to the necessary next surgery, the one that would be her last, she felt terribly frightened when all of a sudden an old favorite hymn, "How Great Thou Art," came to her. It just came to her. And she began singing it to herself over and over on the gurney on the way to the surgery. And she said, I was scared until I wasn't. Like the singer of the 23rd Psalm, Jan intuitively knew where to turn as she walked through her valley of the shadow of death. And as afraid as she might have felt then, she sang until she wasn't. Like the singer of that 23rd Psalm, certainly a sacred kindness and compassion accompanied Jan then and throughout her whole life. And because we feel her still, the Spirit invites us to trust anew that Jan lives forever in the Creator's warm embrace. I invite you to add your voice. Add your voice to hers as we sing, How Great Thou Art. Stand if you choose and are able.
We join our hearts in a time of prayer. Let us pray. Loving one, we give thanks for all the blessings of life, for the gift of love shared between us, and for all the ways that compassion and kindness sustain us in difficult times. We are grateful for those who walk beside us, for families and loved ones, for caregivers and companions, for friends and neighbors. And especially today, we give thanks for the life of Jan Weatherston, wife, mother, sister, aunt, cherished family member, and dear friend. We remember with gratitude the gifts she shared so freely, her generosity and kindness, her love that reached so many, her humor, her courage, her steadiness, and her deep devotion to those she loved most. For all that lives on through those who knew her, we give thanks.
Compassionate One, we trust that Jan rests now in peace and in love, and that nothing can diminish the light she brought into this world. We are grateful for the care she received until her final breath, and for the love that surrounds her always. We hold before you Dean, her partner in life, and pray that he may know comfort and strength from and in this grief. We remember Jan's beloved daughters, Laura, Erin, and Jenny, the joy of her heart. We think of her sisters, Anne and Leslie, and their families, who will feel her absence deeply. We remember also this community of Orleans United, who loved and valued Jan so dearly. Surround each one here with courage, peace, and hope for the days ahead. May the peace that holds Jan now also embrace all who mourn her, and may the memory of her life bring comfort, strength, and blessing.
Eternal One, help us to find in this moment whatever is most needed in our hearts. Faith where there is fear, love where there is anger, hope where there is disappointment, consolation where there is sadness, healing where there is brokenness. Above all, may we honor Jan's memory by choosing love, kindness, and compassion in our lives, seeking out the beauty in every day. We remember with thanksgiving all those who have gone before us in love, and we trust that the bonds of love hold us all in this life and beyond. In that spirit of trust and hope, we join our voices together in the words that Jesus taught. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Indeed, great was Jan's faithfulness to her family, to her friends. Great was God's faithfulness to Jan. And so, as a final hymn, we are going to sing together, Great is Thy Faithfulness, and we'd invite you to stand as you feel able.
Great is thy faithfulness, God our Creator. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness ever to me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun and stars in their course
Please remain standing. Following the final words, we'll have an opportunity to continue to share our memories during a time of reception together. We know that this time of being together, of sharing food and stories and being community is what meant so much to Jan. And we know that her spirit of joy and love will be with us this afternoon and will remain with us always. You alone are eternal source of all life. We are mortal, formed of the earth, and to the earth we shall return. This was always meant to be, as we are reminded, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. All of us go down to the dust, yet even at the grave we lift our song, Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. Into your care, O God of mercy, we commend your servant Jan. Receive her with love and bring her to rest in peace, surrounded by light and the warmth of all who love her.
The Bible reminds us a time to be born and a time to die. The time has come here today to say farewell to Janet Weatherston. For a time she walked among us as wife, mother, sister, aunt, cherished family member, and friend, a gift for which we are deeply grateful. And now God has welcomed her home, so it is that we can return her physical body to this earth as it came. At the same time, we can and will entrust her spirit to the embrace of God, knowing that as Jan's memory lives on in each of us, so she continues to live.
Go forth upon your journey, Jan. Go from this world in peace. Go in the presence of the one who created you, in the love of Christ who walked among us, and in the blessing of the Spirit who surrounds you. Go with our love, and may your dwelling be forever within the heart of God. Amen. My friends, we leave this service trusting that love is never changed by death, that nothing of love is ever lost through death, that in the end, even in sorrow, there is the promise of new beginnings. So as you go from this place, may God be your comfort and strength, God be your hope and support, God be your light and your guide. And may the grace of Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Spirit remain with you this day and always. Amen.